Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting tonight on Wave Channel 18 and online to the city's YouTube channel. If you would like to participate in live public comment via the Zoom platform, please refer to the agenda for instructions. Chair Eric Johnson will begin the meeting momentarily.
I call the June 17th, 2026 City of Lincoln Planning Commission meeting to order. Secretary, may we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Gilbert,
Here.
Commissioner Hutchinson,
Here.
Commissioner Jerry Johnson, Vice Chair Manning,
Here.
Chair Eric Johnson,
Here.
and Commissioner Jackson is absent with notification.
Thank you. Well, I'll move on to item number 3, Pledge of Allegiance, and we will have Commissioner Hutchinson please lead us in the pledge tonight.
Thank you. It'll be my honor. Everyone join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of
The United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 4, agenda modifications. Do we have any agenda modifications this evening?
No, Mr. Chair, we do not.
Thank you. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 5, information items and disclosures. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any information items to share? We'll start with Commissioner Gilbert, please.
I met, excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I met with one of our applicants prior to the meeting to get briefed on an agenda item.
I had a very brief email exchange with one of our applicants.
Nothing to report.
Okay. And I as well had a very brief email exchange with one of our applicants tonight. All right, item number 6, public comment on non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the commission. Citizens may address the planning commission on any item on the agenda when the item is considered. Citizens wishing to speak may request to speak by raising your hand. When requested to do so, this is an opportunity to speak on non-agenda items. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Secretary, do we have any raised hands online, or do we have anyone in the chambers that wishes to speak?
Chair Johnson, I did not receive any cards before the meeting. I do not see any hands raised online. And does anybody want to speak in the room? I see no hands raised in the room.
Thank you. We'll move on to item number 7, consent. All matters on the consent agenda are considered routine business and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a request to remove a specific item for separate action is received. Any items removed will be considered after the remainder of the consent agenda. Do any of my colleagues wish to remove an item from the consent agenda, which we have one item on there?
Move approval of the one item on the agenda, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. We'll do a voice call.
Voice call is fine.
Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? And we have one absent.
5001.
Perfect. All right. That brings us to item number 8, public hearings. So item 8A is the Windsor Cove project. And we have Michaela Noble, Associate Planner, who will please give us the staff report tonight.
Good evening, Commissioners. Just give me one moment to set up. All right. Wonderful. Good evening, Commissioners. Michaela Noble, Associate Planner with the Community Development Department. The project we have before you is the Windsor Cove project. This is just a summary of the staff report materials that were provided to you. So it's a little brief, but we can definitely go into more detail as we go along. Tonight, we'll discuss the following items pertaining to the Windsor Cove project. requested entitlements, project components, staff findings, environmental determination, and staff recommendations. The applicant, Ron Smith, is requesting to approve an amendment to the Village 5 General Development Plan, a large lot tentative subdivision map, and a small lot tentative subdivision map. The project will require a development agreement, which is undergoing a separate negotiation and will be processed at a later date. The proposed project consists of approximately 90 acres within the Village 5 specific plan area. The project site is located in the southeastern portion of the Village 5A plan area. Little background, Village 5 is the whole plan area, but only a portion known as Village 5A was annexed into the city, and that portion is outlined in the blue on the screen. Excitingly, this is the first project within the Village 5A area to come forward for your review. The adopted Village 5 General Development Plan includes planning level details for planning areas A1 and A2, which are outlined in the pink area on the screen. It was established that in order to develop and implement the Village 5 specific plan, subsequent entitlements must be processed and approved by the city, including general development plan amendments or the creation of new general development plans for areas B through J in the plan area. The Windsor Cove project is located within Area J, outlined in red here, and therefore must process a general development plan amendment in order to be developed. Here's the proposed large lot tentative subdivision map for the Windsor Cove project, which was included in your staff report as Attachment 9, Exhibit C. The parcel is approximately 90 acres in size and is being proposed to be divided into large parcels based on varying land use designations to allow for financing and phasing. And here is the small lot tentative subdivision map for Windsor Cove, which was included as Attachment 10, Exhibit C in the staff report. The map features 165 residential lots across roughly 46 acres of land and 8 open space and park lots accounting for approximately 33 acres. 113 of the residential lots are designated as Village Low Density Residential, and the remaining 52 lots are designated as Village Country Estates. Residential lot sizes range from 5,200 square feet to 31,500 square feet. 2 access points will provide access to the site, as seen here, these 2 right here. The internal subdivision circulation system consists of a connected internal local street system organized into 2 connected loops. The project satisfies the city's minimum lot sizes and typical setback requirements, with Village Country Estate lots subject to greater lot dimension and area minimums, as well as increased setback requirements. With this map, the applicant has provided an alternative site layout to install an on-site sewer lift station in the southwest corner of the project site, so roughly where lots 10 and 11 are, if it's required by the city to facilitate the project's sewer system. Ideally, we would have a gravity sewer system, but there may be some constraints that we may need a sewer lift station. Not our priority, not the applicant's priority, but if it's not feasible to do gravity sewer, that would be an alternative. In summary, the proposed project provides for 52 Village Country Estates units and 113 Village Low Density Residential units. The project includes approximately 33 acres of open space and parks. As this is the first development within the Village 5 plan area, there's no existing trail system in that plan area as it was previously county land. As more development occurs in the area, the Village 5 trail system will develop and the Windsor Cove subdivision trail system will connect to that system. As illustrated by the table above, the acreage for each land use would vary slightly from the adopted specific plan. There's one thing I do want to point out. The project has 33 acres of open space, like I mentioned, which is almost triple the amount that was delineated within the Village 5 specific plan. Staff analyzed the proposed entitlement requests and concluded that they are consistent with the goals, policy, and intent of the city's general plan, the Village 5 specific plan and general development plan, and the city subdivision ordinance. Environmentally, the Village 5 Specific Plan Environmental Impact Report and partially recirculated report were certified by City Council in 2017 and 2021 respectively. The Village 5 Environmental Impact Report analyzed the Windsor Cove project at a project level, and today's development plans are consistent with what was previously analyzed. Therefore, no additional environmental review is required under California Environmental Quality Act guidelines. The Windsor Cove project will need to implement all applicable mitigation measures, which are included in the mitigation monitoring plan that was provided with the staff report. City staff has prepared draft conditions of approval for the project to ensure orderly and timely implementation. Standard and project-specific conditions have been applied. The conditions of approval also include all of the applicable mitigation measures. All conditions will be subject to verification of compliance by city departments. Therefore, staff recommends the Planning Commission determine no additional environmental review is required pursuant to CEQA. Adopt a resolution recommending City Council approve the proposed amendments to the Village 5 General Development Plan. Adopt a resolution recommending City Council approve the large lot tentative subdivision map for the Windsor Cove project. And adopt a resolution recommending City Council approve the small lot tentative subdivision map for the Windsor Cove project. Up until this point, we only received 2 public inquiries that were prompted by the sending of the public notices 20 days before the meeting. People were just asking for some more information about the project. At this point, we have not received any formal public comments. We do have members of the applicant team who are available for any questions. In the meantime, thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you for your presentation. So I'll bring it back to the commission at this point. Do any of my colleagues have any questions, comments at this moment? Please.
So the one thing when I went through this in the staff report, initially I was excited to see that they increased nearly I'm sorry, is that better for you? All right. Nearly 3 times the amount of open space, which I think we would all agree is nice. We're preserving our environment and the beauty of our community. But it drew a question, why? Typically, it's the other way around. So it's to say, are we robbing Peter to pay Paul from another development down the road? What's the reason? Why do we do that?
Sure. So twofold. We have the airport compatibility overlay zone that's in the area. So that kind of affects some of the residential density, hence why the country estates are kind of located on the eastern side of the property and low density to the western side. With those requirements, you're able to do something called open land, and not to be morbid, but it allows essentially more land for a plane to potentially crash in the area, and you can kind of add a little bit more density cluster together. So that's one reason. The second reason is Auburn Ravine's right there. So with the Placer County Conservation Program, you're essentially prohibited from doing any residential development within what they call the stream system. And that includes the ravine as well as the 100-year floodplain, kind of wherever that boundary is the furthest away. Majority of that land is all 100-year floodplain for FEMA. So there's really no residential development that's allowed in that area. So we did have to reorganize and shift those lots to the south. So those are the 2 main reasons why there is more open space in that area.
Is it something that we just figured out, or because the Auburn Ravine's always been there and the initial agreement was a higher density with less open space?
So the specific plan was adopted back in 2017. So those land uses were established. However, we adopted the Placer County Conservation Program in 2021, I think the time was. So there were some conflicts with those 2 plans. And we did have discussions with the applicant of whether we could go down the path of amending the PCCP documentation. Granted, that's not necessarily in our control and would take a lot of time to do, or they could amend the land use plan to reflect. Because at the end of the day, those permits with the environmental agency are what's going to determine how quickly you can build and whether you can build. So it was kind of the path of least resistance to follow that rather than just our specific zoning.
I appreciate the explanation. Thanks.
Great question. Yeah, I had the same question. So thank you.
A little
for addressing that.
skeptical with that. I totally understand.
Usually it's like
Yep.
Tony said, the other way around. Go ahead.
If I recall back in 17, when I was on the city council, there was a little conversation about some topography concerns in this area that also lent itself where you didn't have a completely flat, easily developed parcel. So, sometimes to build on hills or undulations is very expensive. So I think a lot of times the developer is kind of driven by the shape and a lot of other concerns about the particular land. They, of course, want to utilize it in the best possible way. And sometimes that's not density. Sometimes there's other considerations. So, but I agree, it was a good question, Tony.
One thing I do want to add is that both situations, PCPTA regarding the airport and PCCP have reviewed the maps, so they're in support of this map. So I want to echo that.
Great, thank you. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next part of it. I'll now open to the public hearing. Citizens wishing to speak on this item may request to speak by raising their hand when requested to do so. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, and I'll, if the applicant would like to say a few words, please.
Good evening, Tony Frazier with Frazier Design Group. On behalf of the landowner, we have Ron Smith. On behalf of the land ownership, I'd like to thank you, Commissioner, for having us here tonight. This has been a long journey, 9 years. And we appreciate Michaela and Mal and everybody. She's a good job, so I'm not going to go in detail of repeating what she said, but we spent 9 years working on the project. I think the most productive was the last 9 months to be here. So thank you for allowing us to be here. You brought up good questions about the open space because we just left a couple of weeks ago here and we're talking about, is it reasonable to do big open space? Where? This is a place where it was reverse. Yes, we have Auburn Ravine, so we have setbacks there. We have FEMA, so we could have delayed the project probably another maybe 2 years to get this battle. I really wanted to win against PCP because, they should have done something that respect what the city does allow and the specific plan. But the requirement right now is you don't put houses, you can put anything else. You can put a road or park, etc. So we had to remove some houses at the last minute and we went back with the application. So we expanded more open space because of the lack of building in FEMA's territory. But also we preserve more wetland and trees. So really a lot of the groupings are around the open space. So that's going to be granted to the cities. There's some open space will be HOAs. This is a private community, but the majority open space will be granted to the city that will be contiguous to Auburn Ravine. I really appreciate a lot of the effort went into this, a lot of brain power, being the first village, moving forward in Village 5. So we got to keep going. As Michaela mentioned, sewer, I think we're working on the gravity. We're pushing for it to go to the 3-mile plan, but always you want to have a backup plan. So we have it on the plan so we don't have to come back and amend the plan for it. Really, I want to make it short, so I appreciate you, I appreciate the team. I'm here for any other question you may have. We tried to put in this project everything that everybody desires. We talked to the neighbor. I tried to knock on everybody's door, not a lot of gates. The ones we were able to talk, nobody has any issues. We're not taking anything from them. Actually, few of them complained they were not annexed before, but that's not our problem. That's between them and city and Village 5. But I appreciate everybody's time and effort, and we thank you for helping us to go through tonight and hopefully make it to City Council. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Tony.
Chairman,
Yes.
could I ask a question of Tony?
Perhaps at the end,
Okay,
if that's okay,
sure.
because maybe we'll have some other questions come up. Thank you. Secretary, do we have any hands raised online or anyone in the chambers that wishes to speak?
I did not receive any cards before the item is heard. There are no hands raised online. Does anybody else in public here in the room would like to speak? I see no hands raised in the room.
Okay, thank you. So seeing none, I'll now close the public hearing and bring it back to my colleagues. Does anyone have any additional comments or questions? Commissioner Johnson.
I do. One of the things that bothers me with this plan is that it's, this neighborhood seems to be isolated from the rest of the village. And one of the reasons for that is the way there's only two vehicular accesses, both from the southern end. There's one pedestrian access just south of the open space 3. You can kind of barely see that, but I believe that is a walkway or paseo. My thought is that it needs at least one walkway paseo mid parcel, so it goes across both the higher density area and the lower
Commissioner
density area.
Johnson, I'm going to have IT pull up the slide that I have
Okay,
on screen
great.
to hopefully help
Yeah, that would,
facilitate the conversation.
that would be
I
project
can-
layout, if you would.
Yep. So just for a summary, what Commissioner Johnson's referring to is this trail corridor that would connect to the new Nelson Lane. And based on what you're saying, you'd kind of want a connection, another pedestrian connection midpoint.
Yes, through all the streets until you get to the easternmost street.
So you would want it to cut all the way across to here.
Yes. And, you know, we're talking about 12 feet or so.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, you were just referring to cutting in through to this roadway right here
No,
Uh,
it'll
center-
go all the way through to Nelson.
from the neighborhood though.
Right.
Okay, understood. So essentially it'd be roughly, that's a 100-foot lot depth. So
Yeah, but then it would then make another connection at the, keep it going until you get to the very last vertical street on the higher density parcel.
are you mean the lower density, the Village Country?
Lower
Estates?
density, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay.
So Tony's done a remarkable job in fitting every possible lot in there, but he's probably got some wiggle room. But
So-
I'd like to hear his take on that.
Yeah, so I will say, if we were to do that, it would essentially be reorganizing the circulation system within the neighborhood, and that's a substantial change, and we would have to push this project to a later date. I do want to acknowledge that with the applicant, our original plan, this is actually submittal 11 for this map, and the original was back in 2017 or 2018. We did have residential essentially going and following that specific plan all the way up to essentially this boundary. Having that additional open space that we essentially required in order to get environmental permits, the applicant did make a lot of concessions. And so yes, they did try to fit as many lots as they can, but because they had to reduce their open space by almost 20 acres, they did make a lot of concessions. So I'll defer it to Tony if he has any, feedback and opinion on this, but I just want to put that out in the open as well.
So we have this trail coming up and down between the two.
Tony, can you get a little closer to the mic, please?
So we have this trail that connects between the two villages. And then we have connection from the trail to the lower residential. I can say 80% promise I was at to look at one of the easement to see if I can fit a trail and how it works. Because this is more country estate, so we don't have trail, sidewalk. We'll see how it is and, whoops. Let me see. I know. Making your job easier. All right. So I'll look to see if it's feasible to have a trail connectivity because we have to have a drainage here, interrupt. So we have this as LID channel, the trail on the other side. So I'll look and see if we can change one of the easement access to be also trail access.
Yeah, microphone.
That would take the access through to Nelson Lane.
Yeah, because we have right now, almost the same mistake. If you connect to here, it'll connect to the trail. This trail connects to this road here, connects to, and then you're on the north side, or this trail comes back, connects with the park, connect. So yeah, everything goes back. So either you come back here, or you'll come back here, and or you come back here. So everything goes back connecting. The idea was to really merge these two villages, even though they're different products, they are codependent. Even for fire, everybody has circulation. So we'll look and see. I think that is like 80% plus on record to try to add that trail there.
And it would extend all the way to, can't remember that Nelson Lane.
Are you referring to the Nelson Lane on the
Yeah.
west side, on the
On the
left
west
of there,
side,
or the
west
right?
side, west side.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
But, I mean, we can go to west, I mean, this roadway, when we connect to the sidewalk connects to the signal here. This is 6-lane road. So the whole idea was we're trying to keep off bringing anybody on this road besides to the sidewalk. Engineering was very critical, all of us. We don't want to dump bikers traffic on 6-lane road. There's no access, but they have a signal down here. So we have the gate will up here so you can connect to the sidewalk, come down here, and they have through the subdivision, they come back to the signal. This is the only safe spot to connect to go to the west side. But the 193 is not built, I mean, not 193, but Nelson is not built yet. So the design is still there. There's going to be bridges. There's going to be a lot of things. So there's going to be consideration to trail in Auburn Ravine. I don't know how all of that going to develop. That's why Michaela said that trail system in Village 5 is going to come. We're trying to right now, within the inside, we're not trapped. We're allowing to get to Nelson, but then also the city owns all the open space. You can come and add any trail you want. This is not Sun City. So if you end up able to put more trails in the open space, then we'd love to connect to it because you own, it's a city parcel all the way up to our parcels.
Well, you know, if you're a cyclist, you'll go down to the southern
Correct.
street, which is what?
More.
More road.
You'll cycle down to Moore Road
Correct.
and go over, and you're going to be following at the very least, a bicycle lane in both Nelson and Moore. But I'm hoping that there will also be an off-road trail along those arterials when they're developed. But the point is, if you're walking, say you're walking your dog, you know, you're not going to go all the way down to Moore Road in order to get over to Nelson. So,
So that's why we
I'm
have
just saying there needs to be some kind of a break mid-project level where there's access, pedestrian access. I mean, the vehicular access is fine, but
The way we look at it, in at least engineering traffic, is that, you know, the ability to walk, you know, we always count. I have my ring here that's counting every foot. So I'm trying to make my minute, my limits, my miles. So we look at, okay, from the middle of the project, if you're in the middle and you want to go a certain place, where do you go? So you go up north if you want to go to the trail. If you're down south, you're middle distance to the gate. So if we're trying to make it equal distance, and that's how we design things, to make sure that people, you know, not somebody's going to have to walk all the way to the end to get it, but at least in the middle. And this is what we try to do. Anything more than this, we're starting to open the door more on Nelson. We don't know Nelson design yet. We're leaving the door open if it has whatever kind of design. We're only fixing up to the wall and committing to landscape the edges. That's part of the application that we're committed to be bonded. But we want to leave the freedom for a city to finalize the design on Nelson, because then they can come up with whatever they need to design for the bikes. But as Michael said, this is the 11th submittal official. We have maybe 5, 6. We survived about 7 planners and et cetera, et cetera. So there's always something, and then we try to compromise. But I think I like your idea, having trail connect in the middle of the VCE. So I'll look into considering having that if it doesn't add a drainage issue or problem with the wetland permit, so. All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, I guess any of my fellow commissioners have any other questions or comments? No? Okay, yeah, I will entertain a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion that we approve, first of all, and determine the project is exempt from the California Environment and Quality Act, CEQA. Should we do these separately?
If all of the commissioners are going to vote in a similar manner and no one has any desire to pull or change an item, then they can all be voted on at one
Do any of
time.
my colleagues want to pull an item, or should I do it all at one time?
Well, I would like to see the inclusion of one pedestrian access mid property.
So I think that's item 4. We would need to pull to adopt a resolution recommending the city council approve a small lot tentative subdivision map. So you can vote on the first 3 items as one unit, and then we can discuss the final item.
Thank you, Nita. I'll move on then and say, as well as adopt a resolution recommending city council approve of the amendments to the Village 5 General Development Plan to include development standards for the project. And 3, adopt a resolution recommending city council approval of a large lot tentative subdivision map for the proposed Windsor Cove project.
I will second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. I guess, do roll call, please.
Chairman Dawson, would you like a roll call vote or would you like to take a voice call vote?
Well, I guess since we grouped those ones, let's do a voice call. Yeah, so all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so those ones pass 5001. Now we have the remaining resolution number 4 on there. Do I have a motion?
Well, I move approval of item 8A4 with the addition of a pathway, paseo, mid parcel area, maybe between 18 and 19, if I understand what Tony was saying.
And I would just recommend that you add the language as long as it's allowable within density impact drainage or other fun things.
I so move.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. We'll do a voice call again on this one. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
All right, that passes as well, 5001. Excellent. Well, that's that item, Windsor Cove project. Thank you for presenting on that. That'll bring us to item number 8B, Village 7B Amendments Project. And I believe we have, yes, Michaela, Associate Planner, will give the staff report tonight. Please, Michaela.
I'm back. Good evening again. Michaela Noble, Associate Planner with the Community Development Department. Tonight, I'll be assisted by our environmental consultant, Nick Papani, with Rainey Planning and Management. The project we have before you is the Village 7B Amendments Project. This presentation is a summary of the project, and more detailed information was provided with your staff report. I apologize, Commissioner Gilbert. I will be using some acronyms tonight. However, I plan to introduce the item first, spell it out, provide the acronym, and then I'll use that acronym going forward. And if I'll try my best. I think I've captured everything, but let me know if I'm off. Tonight, we'll discuss the following items pertaining to the project: requested entitlements, project background, project components, staff findings, environmental determination, and lastly, staff recommendations. The applicant, Lewis Planned Communities LLC, is requesting the following items. Adoption of an addendum to the Village 7 and Village 5 Specific Plan Environmental Impact Report, EIR, and updated mitigation monitoring plans. Approval of amendments to the Village 7 and Village 5 specific plans and general development plans, and authorization to initiate annexation proceedings with Placer Local Agency Formation Commission, LAFCO. The proposed project consists of approximately 231 acres. Approximately 197 of those acres are located within the Village 7 specific plan area, and the remaining 34 acres are located within the Village 5 plan area. There's 49 acres that are south of Moore Road, this little reverse L shape. This portion is the only portion that's currently within city limits. The remaining 182 acres north of Moore Road must be annexed into the city in order to be developed pursuant to the specific plans. For context, the city adopted the Village 7 specific plan and EIR in June of 2010. Since then, the city has processed a vesting tentative map for phase 1 of the specific plan, as well as multiple specific plan and general development plan amendments, as is described in the staff report. In terms of construction, phase 1, known as Liberty at Lincoln, is currently under construction with new homes and parks being built. As I mentioned in the last presentation, the city adopted the Village 5 specific plan and EIR in 2017, and the partially recirculated EIR was readopted back in 2021. In 2024, the city annexed approximately 2,700 acres of the Village 5 specific plan area, known as Village 5A. And as we just went through the first project in Village 5A, there's no development to date. The proposed project requests to amend some land use designations, create a new land use designation known as Village Medium High Density Residential, known as VMHDR, make minor land use modifications south of Moore Road, add text regarding the previously approved agricultural overlay zone that was inadvertently excluded from the General Development Plan, and receive authorization to submit an annexation application for approximately 182 acres of land into city limits. The slide presented shows the existing land use plan on the left and the proposed on the right. The land use modifications south of Moore Road, which are outlined in purple, are slight reconfigurations of the Village Low Density Residential, VLDR, and Village Medium Density Residential, VMDR, but don't materially increase the development footprint or residential unit count. North of Moore Road, outlined in red, the applicant is proposing to increase the overall density and unit count of the development area. There's a linear park and open space strip and Village Low Density Residential development located along the eastern project boundary to buffer existing residential neighborhoods in the Sorrento and 3D area. It's difficult to see because the red line's over it, but on the actual specific plan, there is a linear parkway corridor that would provide a trail in the future. Within the Village 7 portion of the project, there's a reduction in VLDR, Village Open Space, and Village Parks and Recreation, and a corresponding increase in Village Medium Density Residential, VMHDR, and Village Mixed Use Acreage. I'm sorry, Commissioner Gilbert, I know you aren't enjoying that. VMHDR is a new land use designation within the plan that allows for a residential density range of 6 to 18 dwelling units per acre. The VMHDR designation allows the developer more flexibility to develop an array of housing products depending on the market state at the time of development. More linear park and open space corridors are provided throughout the northern portion of the plan area to provide additional connectivity and greenery opportunities for residents to access their community. So those are those green strips throughout, which I do have some preliminary exhibits to kind of give you a feel of what those are supposed to look like in the future. Within the Village 5 portion, which is this area right here, Within the Village 5 portion of the project, there's a reduction of Village Rural Residential, VRR, acreage and an increase in VLDR acreage. The applicant is proposing to increase the density allowed within the residential acreage, but is dedicating the remaining land to open space and park uses. I will not walk you through this table because it is a lot. I will summarize it in the next slide, but this table is included in table 1 in your staff report as table 1. And I'll just walk you through the big changes with it. In summary, the proposed amendments will do the following. In Village 5, there will be an increase of 23 units with less land dedicated to residential development. There's an increase in approximately 11 acres of open space and parks. In Village 7, north of Moore Road, there will be an increase of potentially 635 units and more acreage dedicated to residential development. There's a decrease in approximately 26 acres of parks and open space. However, the plan area is at a 50% open space dedication with the inclusion of the 162-acre conservation easement directly adjacent to the plan area, which we'll discuss in the next slide. The minor modifications south of Moore Road would add 5 units and reduce park acreage by 2 acres. In September of 2021, the Lincoln City Council approved an ordinance establishing the agricultural overlay zone within Village 7. The zone supports and allows for the continuation of existing agricultural uses. The text language was adopted back in 2021, but for some reason, it was inadvertently omitted from the Village 7 General Development Plan. So with this amendment, we just want to add that in as it was previously approved. It was shown as a red line, but it's not necessarily new information, just want to show that there was a change in the documents that have been previously presented. The amendment would also acknowledge a 162-acre conservation easement that was previously established located west of the Village 7 plan area and north of the city's wastewater treatment facility, which is outlined in red here. And Village 7 is the pink specific plan area. The easement was required to mitigate wetland and species impacts associated with the development of Village 7. While the preserve is not part of the Village 7 specific plan area, the area was preserved in association with the project. And if accounted, would increase Village 7's total open space dedication to 50%. These are the exhibits that I previously mentioned about the open space and Paseo corridors. The applicant provided some concepts just to give you a better feel and add some color to what the 2D image on the land use plan is. The top exhibit is the Auburn Ravine Open Space Trail and what that will essentially feel like once developed. The area on the bottom image is the Moore Road multi-use trail. And here we have those Paseo corridors that I mentioned. We have an aerial view on the upper right hand, just kind of showing what that looks like with residential development around it, as well as an eye level view if you were a pedestrian walking through that corridor. The applicant also provided some conceptual park plans. We're not technically reviewing these tonight, but just to give you a feel of what could be developed once these parks are built. This one in particular is located in the Village 5 area on that western project boundary. Potential amenities included a large lawn area for soccer, a dog park, top lot, a child's playground with swings, basketball courts, sand volleyball courts, and a restroom. And this park is in the middle of the Village 7 portion up north. And this could include potentially some baseball fields, tot lots, shade structures, and barbecues and picnic tables. As I previously mentioned, approximately 182 acres of the project site are not currently within city limits. The area shown in red would be required to submit a formal application to Placer-LAFCO. Staff analyzed the proposed entitlement requests and concluded that they are consistent with the city's general plan, the adopted Village 7 specific plan and general development plan, and the Village 5 specific plan and general development plan. City staff has prepared draft conditions of approval for the project to ensure orderly and timely implementation of the project. Standard and project-specific conditions have been applied and include all applicable mitigation measures from both the Village 7 and Village 5 specific plan EIRs. All conditions will be subject to verification of compliance by city departments. And now I would like to invite Nick Papani with Rainey Planning and Management for environmental information.
Thank you. Nicely done. Good evening, Nick Papani, Vice President with Rainey Planning and Management. We were retained by the city to conduct the environmental review for the proposed project. And so I'm just going to give a quick overview of that process here and just kind of first start off with a little bit of discussion of kind of where we're at and context-wise. As you're aware, an environmental impact report was prepared for the Village 7 project and Village 5 and certified by the City Council previously. When we have cases where an applicant comes forward and proposes certain modifications to an approved project for which there is a certified EIR, the first thing that the lead agency does, City of Lincoln staff, is to determine if any of those changes to the project are going to trigger certain criteria in this CEQA guidelines, California Environmental Quality Act. Those specific criteria have to do with, would the changes in the project create any new significant impacts and not previously identified in the EIRs? Would the changes to the project substantially increase the severity of a previously identified impact? Or are there certain circumstances that have changed over time that would render a new significant impact or a substantial increase in the previously identified impact? So that's kind of the lens that we're looking at as we consider the changes to the project. And so we worked with a host of consultants to prepare technical reports to evaluate the changes to the project and their potential effects. One thing that's important to emphasize too is when we do this analysis of the proposed changes, we're not comparing the project changes to a bare site out there because there's already an approved project. So we're actually allowed under the California Environmental Quality Act to compare the proposed changes against the approved project, not just bare ground. So that's an important distinction when you're doing this kind of follow-on environmental review process. So in doing that, we had a quantitative air quality greenhouse gas analysis, a comparative traffic analysis that was prepared by Fair & Peers under contract with us. And Fair & Peers is available as well on virtually. A biological resources analysis, cultural resources analysis, wastewater capacity memorandum, and the City of Lincoln's 2025 Urban Water Management Plan, which includes the proposed increased development from this project. And one thing to note as well is that for an addendum, it is acceptable to identify, if necessary, additional mitigation measures, as long as the applicant agrees to those mitigations and they would fully reduce the project's effects. There were just a couple of additional mitigation measures that were identified. Those include pre-construction survey requirements for a candidate species of bumblebee that has been determined to be a candidate for listing on the California Endangered Species Act since the EIR was certified. So that's kind of a new piece of information. So we simply have a new mitigation for the applicant to retain biologists to conduct surveys out there prior to any construction. And then also for potentially roosting bats. The last mitigation measure that's a new added item is tribal cultural resources. And that's an outcome of the city's coordination with the tribes in the area. And so that basically requires a certain level of monitoring across the plan area during construction. And those are included in our addendum. Overall, the analysis, and of course, we can answer any questions if you have any on the details, but from a high level, the analysis concluded that the changes associated with the project that are before you tonight would not result in any new significant impacts that were not previously covered in the EIRs, or a substantial increase in severity from those that were, again, already identified previously. So an addendum in that case is the appropriate document when you're just making some minor technical changes to the certified documents. So I think that wraps that up, and I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Could I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, please.
The 500-pound gorilla that we're not recognizing here is the impact on the school district. Is there what progress are we making in that area?
Thank you, Commissioner, for the question. You want to start with that? I can.
Do you want to?
Passing the buck.
Right. We can play hot potato all night if you'd like. So we do have an agreement with the school district, and we are in negotiations to further outline the use of the area, and those negotiations are ongoing. We're very close to finalizing the second agreement that would kind of line everything out and put it all to bed. We're getting there. We're getting there with them.
And the one thing I do want to add is this is not getting developed tomorrow. We still have a long way to go. This is just some land use amendments. We have to follow up with future entitlements, mapping to really and eventually design reviews and things of that nature to get to that point. And with that, staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt a resolution recommending City Council adopt the proposed addendum and updated mitigation monitoring plans for the Village 7 and Village 5 specific plan EIRs. Adopt resolutions recommending City Council approval of amendments to the Village 7 specific plan and Village 5 specific plan. Adopt resolution recommending City Council approval of amendments to the Village 7 General Development Plan and Village 5 General Development Plan. And adopt a resolution recommending City Council authorize the submittal of an annexation application to Placer LAFCO for a portion of the adopted Village 5 specific plan area and a portion of the Village 7 specific plan area. At this point, like I said previously, we had a couple people reach out, just requesting more information on this project as well. We have not received any formal comments at this time, and I do have members of our consultant team as well as the project applicant in person and on Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, Michaela, for that presentation. Do any of my colleagues have any more questions or comments this time? Commissioner Manning?
I'll wait till after public comment. Are we
Okay.
done? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sounds like we'll wait until then. So with that, I'll now open the public hearing. Citizens wishing to speak on this item may request to speak by raising their hand. When requested to do so, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Before I ask the secretary about any hands raised, does the applicant want to take a few minutes to say anything? Please.
Thank you, Chairman Johnson. I appreciate the opportunity. Phil Rodriguez with the Lewis Group of Companies, Lewis Plan Communities. We're the developer of, right now, 95% of the Village 7 specific plan, which we more fondly refer to as Liberty at Lincoln. This is really including another phase of our development into the Liberty at Lincoln Master Plan. We've been at this for a significant amount of time, 20-plus years. We're pleased that a couple of years ago, we were able to break ground. We have active subdivisions underway right now with now 4 home builders, and we have our farmhouse clubhouse fully open, being utilized by all those residents. And we are in a mode right now just planning for the next phases. And if I could answer a couple of questions that I heard, one with respect to the school component. The school district is well aware of this component of Village 7 of Liberty, being served by the school that we are jointly going to be funding with the school district and the city. These units actually help pay for the school construction, and it's a TK through 8 school, so it's one school that's located in our Phase 2 area just north of Ferrari Ranch Road that I believe the school district's desire is to get that school under construction starting in 2028, lofty goals, but that's where their heads are at right now. They have significant needs with schools. So this is really the phase 3 of our project, that adding this, including to it into the master plan. We don't foresee this happening quickly. This is a 10, 12, 15-year project overall, the build out of the entirety of a specific plan. So this is a long journey, and this isn't the first time we'll come before you. We'll be coming before you with tentative subdivision maps, design review of the homes. If you notice, there's a red blob just south of that park that in this expansion area, that's a clubhouse. We see that we're going to need multiple clubhouses, so we're planning for that clubhouse in the area north of Moore Road. So it's a long journey, and we're pleased with that. And what I would like to say is the compliment staff, from Nita, the Community Development Director, to Mel, the Planning Manager, but more specifically, Michaela. She's one heck of a planner, if I can say it that way. She's very detailed. She's very thorough. She finds things that we thought we got, which we missed. They brought in the Rainey Planning and Management team, the EIR and project manager of the processing of everything. So a great team that was formed over the course of the last probably year and a half of just getting this project analyzed and reviewed and before you. So if you have any questions for you, I don't want to be duplicative with what Michaela just presented, but if anything that you have, I'm here to answer questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil. Secretary, do we have any hands raised online or anyone in the chambers that wishes to speak?
I did not receive any cards before the meeting. The item was heard. I do not see any hands raised online. And I believe there is a public speaker here in the room who would like to speak. If you can please state your name at the podium, please.
I was at the Aviation Committee meeting this morning. I would advise all of you as a planning commission to be very careful about planning around the airport. Because what will happen, what's underfoot is changing the flight pattern at the airport, which would push it over to the west of the airport. And what happens if you develop that way, people will start complaining. And eventually what will happen is the airport will go away. So be very careful. That project that y'all unanimously just passed is influenced by the airport. So be very careful there.
Thank you.
Just for this committee's edification, I do attend almost all of the airport committee meetings, and so I am aware of the discussions of a potential change which has not been approved by the committee or enacted by the committee. And I cannot speak for how that committee will ultimately determine, but I don't know that it's will actually provide a significant impact to this area that is different than what they have now.
Sure. And when we're considering plans, we have that compatibility use that we follow, right?
That's correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Secretary, do we have any?
I still do not see any hands raised online. Does anybody else want to speak in the room? And please state their name at the podium.
Hi, my name is Sherry Gayton. I live at 741 Nelson, just due west of this project. And I have a large horse farm, which I know from experience of other horse farms, that when you get housing that close, at first they're really excited. And then all of a sudden, flies, dust, they start complaining. And I mean really complaining. And that's my one concern. I would like to know what kind of fencing, what kind of area is going to go up against it. I know my neighbors, Michelle and Greg Reese, also have the same concern because they're just north of us. Also, I do have a view of the Sierra Nevadas. a very beautiful view. And 2 stories right up next to where I live, my house is up on a little bit of a mound. It would take away my view. So I don't know that much about Lincoln and view preservation, but I do know where I used to live in Southern California, it was very important. And it is important to me because I look out there every day. I can see snow quite a while. I can see the Donner Pass even. So that's my two questions. If someone could get back to me and just let me know what's going to go right up next to it, what kind of fencing. Horses are attractive nuisances. I know that. You know, they're fun and exciting, and kids may try to climb fences too. So, thank you.
I'm happy to take your contact information after the meeting, and I can research where your property is and see kind of what's
Okay.
going on in that area.
Yeah, I'm going to have to leave pretty soon. I have a husband that I have to take care of, but I can call you.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Michaela.
Kayla,
Yep,
Kayla
thank
Noble.
you.
Yeah.
Thank-
Thank you, Sherry. Secretary.
Does anybody else want to speak in the room? I do not see any more hands raised, and there are no hands raised online.
Okay, thank you for checking again. So with that, I'll now close the public hearing and bring it back to my colleagues. Does anyone have any additional comments or questions? I'll start to my right with Commissioner Gilbert. You- Okay? You're fine? How about Commissioner Johnson? Any additional comments or questions? Okay, no worries. Commissioner Manning?
I'm just in deep thought here. But I just don't understand how it doesn't have a bigger impact on CEQA when we're doubling the amount of toilets that are going to get flushed, doubling the amount of water going through our faucets, doubling the amount of concrete that's going to get poured that makes water run faster into our rain systems, doubling the amount of kids on our school district, doubling the amount of cars in the community, doubling the amount of houses, or close to doubling, and reducing so much open space. But I'll go with what the experts say. That's my comment.
Thank you. So I did, well, did you have any other thoughts before, do you have any other thoughts or comments before we move forward? Okay. So I just have one quick question of clarification. Thanks, Phil, for pointing out what that red blob was up there. That was going to be my question, is what that is. It's represented as a village mix use. So thanks for clarifying that. I'm just curious with that red blob, the community center, at what point does that get built or developed? Is there like a certain part in the phase that's there available for, you know, those that are already kind of moving into the community, or is it at the very end? Just kind of curious what that looks like.
I won't speak to that. We don't have a timing mechanism of when they're required to build that, but I will just defer to Phil on that one, as they just did that for phase 1.
Okay.
That's a great question. So good answer I'll provide today. We build master plan communities a lot, and we size our clubhouses to serve a number of homes. The one that you see today, and because we built it elsewhere and we know the demand and the usage, that one will serve about 1,000 units. And so what we're doing is we're recognizing that when we get into phase 3, which is where this area is, we will need another clubhouse. We'll reach that threshold of units when we're in our phase 2 area, just north of Ferrari Ranch Road and south of Moore Road. So as you see today, what we've done, we open the clubhouse. It helps sell homes. We have 70 plus homeowners utilizing that clubhouse. So it's all about timing and demand.
Okay.
We don't wait
Sure.
until folks are overcrowding one clubhouse and waiting for the other one to be built.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Gilbert?
Well, based on your question, which was a good one, I don't remember exactly how many of the commissioners had an opportunity to visit the clubhouse that the applicant recently built. And of course, I live in Lincoln Hills, where we have 2 very major clubhouses. And the one that they just built is far superior to anything we have in Lincoln Hills. Lincoln Hills was an award-winning community and a very positive thing in regards of services for the residents. And my wife and I walked around on their development. It is high class. It is quality. It's designed, it has incredible design. Whatever firm did the design of that particular project, you know, deserves an A+. And if you haven't seen it, if you go out there and look at it, and if we establish that as the level of quality we want in future projects, they'll all be winners.
Thank you.
One item to add regarding the airport as well. Plan amendments, if you're in the airport overlay zone, you have to go to Placer County Transportation Planning Agency's Airport Land Use Commission. It's a lot of words. So they do review it and, you know, make sure that it is consistent with the policies and intent of that Placer document. And so we went to that a few months ago. It was March, actually. I was unfortunately out sick that day. So thank you, Mel, for attending on my behalf. But that was voted and approved unanimously by that group.
All right. Thank you for clarifying that and additional information. That, or do you have an additional comment or question, or?
No,
Ready to make a
I'm ready
motion?
to move on.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I move the approval of items 8B, 1 through 6, as presented in the agenda.
The motion?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll do voice call. So all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
So that passes 5001.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you. That will take us to item number 9, general business, and I see none on there. And then item number 10, informational items from staff and director reports. Does staff have any informational items for us tonight?
No, no informational items. We will just move on to the director's report and the tracker, which you have in front of you. If you have questions about upcoming projects, of course, we encourage you to reach out and let us know in advance of your interest in a specific project so we can get you as much information in advance as possible. I don't really have any other comments at this time, except to share with this committee that we are moving forward and moving as quickly as government can move to develop an additional position within the Community Development Department for a deputy director. In fact, the city manager told me that he signed off on the draft job description today. Haven't even told staff that, so their ears are perked up. However, that does have to go to city council for approval because it would be an additional allocation and salary.
Okay, thank you. So with that, item number 11, commissioner comments. Do any of my colleagues have any comments? I'll start to my right.
None.
I've already told this to Michaela in person, but I really think that your staff work on these two very difficult projects was extremely well done, and appreciate that.
Thank you. And I'll echo that. Thank you to all the city staff for all the work that goes into preparing these. And also thanks for everyone coming out too and getting involved in this. And to the ones that we moved on tonight, congratulations. And glad to have you here investing in Lincoln. I appreciate your support and a partnership and collaboration on all that. So with that, we're adjourned.